to speak at a Bible college. He arrived early that day, and he was met by a number of men who wanted to pray for him as he was getting ready to give the morning address in the chapel service. And he tells that 8 men and him gathered together in a private area to pray. And these men prayed, and they kept praying. And he said, they laid their hands on me, which we know to be a biblical custom. And he said, the longer they prayed, the heavier their hands got on my head. And he said, one of the gentlemen began to pray for a man by the name of Charlie Schultz. I may not be pronouncing that correctly. And he said, Lord, you know Charlie. He lives in that silver trailer below the campus here. He's told me that he's going to leave his wife and kids. And I pray that you'd intervene today. Well, the prayer finished. Tony got up, went out and preached at the chapel. After the service, he got in his car and he was headed home. And he noticed a man on the side of the road, a hitchhiker. We would use the term from yesteryear. And he stopped and he picked him up. And after a few moments of awkward silence, Tony looked over to the stranger and said, by the way, my name is Tony Campolo. What's yours? And he says, Charles Schultz. And Tony looked at him and he said, you just left your wife and children. And he said, Charlie's eyes got as big as saucers. And he pushed back up against the door and the window in disbelief that this man whom he had never met told him he had just left his wife and children. Tony said at that moment he turned the car around and began to head back to his home. At the time, Charlie didn't know where they were going. He said, you should have seen Charlie's expression when I pulled in his home, that silver trailer that the gentleman had just before the service prayed for. He said, Charlie got out of the car and I followed him to the front porch where his wife was saying, you're back. You're home. Charlie, you're home. And Tony followed them up to the porch. And he said, I want both of you to sit down. I've got something to tell you. And in the course of the afternoon or evening, whatever time it was, Tony was able to lead those two to Christ. The power of intercession. If you'll read sometime at your leisure in Acts chapter 12, you'll read an incredible story of Peter being thrown into the prison by Herod Agrippa. Herod has just killed James, the brother of John. Peter is in prison, likely on his last night before he is to be executed. Herod is so concerned about these disciples getting out of prison that he assigns 4 squads, which would have been equal to 16 soldiers, 2 of which are chained, physically chained to Simon Peter. I don't know all the details other than what Acts records, but there's a prayer meeting going on for Peter's release. The power of prayer. Peter's asleep, chained between 2 guards, others likely just feet away, with a total of 16 who are assigned to one man. And Peter is asleep. And an angel comes up to him, I can only imagine in my mind's eye, and just taps him. Says, Peter, wake up. We're busting out. Now, that's my language. It's not in the text. You won't find that in the Greek. But the angel